The next chapter considers how to select the right process improvement projects, including criteria and the project viability model. To start, selecting the right projects is critical to ensure effective change, including improvements to customer satisfaction and organizational performance. Furthermore, the text cautions against selecting too many projects. That is, it's important to recognize when employee time is maxed out. Otherwise, quality may actually decline as employees are spread too thin. So organizations should consider launching projects relative to funding, meaning resources, monetary resources, that is, people, meaning employee time, including considering burnout, morale, and regular, meaning day-to-day job requirements. And then finally, project management, meaning the availability of black belts and project managers. The text presents a 5-step process to select projects. So first is conduct a data-based review of the current state of the organization. And then second, brainstorm and describe potential projects. Third is apply business criteria to shorten the list. Fourth is create unique business criteria. And then fifth is use the business criteria to prioritize the projects. And to do so, we'll use the project viability model that we'll see later in this chapter. Let's break those steps down. Starting with number 1, conduct a database review of the current state of the organization. And the text presents different sources of information for reviewing organizational performance, such as customer complaints, including customer needs that are not being met, as well as future customer needs. And then we also might consider employee complaints and their general feedback, as well as areas where the organization is falling short of benchmarks and/or competitors. And then looking at processes, we might consider those with the most defects, as well as those with the most rework, or maybe the slowest processes, or perhaps the most expensive processes, or in general, obstacles that are inhibiting organizational goals. Number 2 is brainstorm and describe potential projects. The organization can evaluate potential projects over time, including developing effective problem statements, as we learned in Chapter 6. Then number 3 is apply basic criteria to shorten the list. For example, projects that don't fit the Six Sigma methodology, such as organizational culture issues, or projects that are not properly scoped, or perhaps projects with unclear or limited return on investment, ROI, or projects with limited improvement opportunity, as well as projects with obvious problems and/or solutions. Number 4 is create unique business criteria to further dig into project potential. And examples might include impacts on revenue and customer orders, as well as profits, the potential project savings, as well as the problem trend. Are the impacts increasing or perhaps lessening? We also might look at improvement cost, including the number of employee hours required, as well as other resources required. And finally, number 5, use business criteria to prioritize the project list. And these include more detailed criteria that we can apply in the project viability model. For instance, sponsorship. Is the project likely to be sponsored at a high level in the organization? Likewise, corporate alignment. Are the project goals aligned with our business goals? And data. Is data available and accessible? Next is defect definition. Is the defect or problem specific and well-defined? Stability. Will the process be overhauled in the near future anyway? Then we also consider our customers. Do we expect substantial impacts on customer satisfaction, including quality perceptions? And then benefits. Is there a strong cost-benefit ratio? And timeline. Is the timeline reasonably short? Next is solution. Is the solution already known and defined? And implementation likelihood. Will the implementation and changes hold after we're done? Next is investment. Is the cash investment reasonable? And then we see Six Sigma resources. Are black belts and green belts available? Inputs controlled. Are at least some of the inputs in control of the team? And next is redesign. Can the process be improved without a complete redesign? And finally, quality maintained. Will the results negatively impact quality elsewhere along the value chain? The text then presents the details of executing the project viability model. You might find the methodology to be a bit confusing, though a detailed example is presented. Nevertheless, we'll generalize with key ideas, including weight each criteria for importance, and we'll evaluate each project relative to the criteria, and then in the end, combine the weights and project criteria evaluations to get a score for each project. For this approach, higher scores are better. So less than 2.0, that project is not viable for DMAIC. 2.0 to 3.0, it's possibly viable, but we need to further validate it. And then a project with a score greater than 3.0 is viable for DMAIC. Ideally, we need to use the full expertise and intelligence of the entire project team. That is, encourage a cycle of both team discussion and individual thought to extract the most insight from the team without one person dominating the process. The text then goes through a detailed application of the project viability model. And no worries if you don't quite follow all the calculations. The primary idea is to understand the project viability model is a rigorous way to select the right projects in order to maximize the potential success of Six Sigma, including DMAIC.